Hi guys, today I want to show you an overview of the track I did for Bahn Records. It's called Deliberate Practice. It's the first track from my latest EP called Inner Knowing, released on Bahn at the end of the April. And this is the tune you've been hearing. Some of you maybe have heard it, some of you maybe not. Let's get a glimpse through it. So it's based on this lead. This guy. And for making this sound, I used a preset from Ableton operator called detune to unstable. If we typed in unstable, we should have detune to unstable. And I don't think, maybe I've tweaked a bit, some of the oscillators to add a bit more harmonics, but the main rhythm, I remember I played it on my keyboard. As you can see, it's a rhythm that I play, like do. I like to do it. It gives a nice kind of like a human touch. And then I've divided this part to like two sections. So one section is when the note is held all the time, and second section is when there's like more rhythmic groove to it. And then we have a bit of amp and auto filter that will kind of creates that effect that the sound is growing. Because then at some point, like here, I have filtered pretty closed, and then the filter opens throughout the arrangement and closes. It's quite a bit of resonance as well, but the kind of like spacey effect, it's another preset I used from Ableton called Ethereal Techno. Ethereal Canyon, Ethereal Techno, that could be do. Ethereal Canyon, which is like a preset for echo. And I guess, that preset adds that. If I would, the sound is pretty dry. Now it has all that stereo feel that makes it really nice. For the bass, I've used my own preset kind of like for operator, Sabi bass. I recorded the audio because I had a lot of problems, to be honest, with the fact that like making sure the low end is quite okay with the overall like a spectral tone. So there was a lot of like hustling how to get the low end right. So kudos to mastering engineer Ash from the band to like making notes that I should work on this and this and that. So as you can see, I actually went through having kick recorded and having audio samples as well as these audio samples and cutting them to make the space so the low end could breathe, because originally it was a simple like pattern for the bass, but due to the nature of that sound, it kind of didn't work that well. So just something to note that it's not always that easy to fix the low end, and it's good to have a reference mastering engineer or to listen to that in the good club, like with the proper sound system, to see if your low end works. And with all the gradual changes, I think we came up to something sounding decent, in my opinion. Maybe it's not the best sounding low end in the whole world, but it's decent, and decent is good enough. Okay, so as I'm starting simply by having like hi-hat with a bit of arpeggiator, which kind of adds that, and that arpeggiator is playing its own note, which adds that kind of like nice interest, because it's not that static. And I'm using a lot of automation to introduce the sound, to hide the sound. I think this is the key for really nice arrangement to have that, you know, kind of sounds fading in, fading out. The same over here with the filter. This track is really basic in my opinion. It has like this filter movement and the hi-hat movement and a bit of texture as well. Okay, so now we have some drums coming in, and this is the drums I have from sample pack from Riemann collection. So whenever I have a drum pattern, I like to create this cute question and answer. So as you can hear, there's like, yeah, so this first sound kind of asks the question, and the second part, this one, answered. You can get this kind of texture rack, yeah, if you subscribe to be a community member. I created this rack for you to download. The link is in the description, as well as plenty other racks for your Hypnotic Techno production. So yeah, we have stuff coming in, hi-hats, pretty basic in my opinion. But then I've added another bit, it's a ride. So now we have like 3 sounds playing together. This one, now this one, and this one. So they create this kind of interest movement in the rhythmic section, but our main sound is still like doing its thing, and then some claps. So there's like a 4th rhythmic sound coming into play. Nothing fancy. We enter the breakdown. Now the texture will be with the held note. And the reason for the held note is to create a tension, as well as to add a bit of noise. That noise also adds the tension, it adds up in the upper spectrum. And now we can like hide down everything and get into like a bit more hypnotic part, where like the main emphasis on this sound and the texture. There is also another texture, a bit of that one, also with the rack. I like to have those really low in volume sounds to add the interest. And there are like 2 phrases, 1, 2, yeah, 2 phrases or 3, no 2. And we kind of like start the groove going with different hi-hat, and this is really nice trick. Like you see in this part we have this hi-hat, and we have different hi-hats, and this is what really makes the techno hypnotic, that you kind of like play the same rhythm but you add different sound to it. So this is what I like to do quite often, and here in that section, as you can see, we will have the same pattern playing open hi-hat. So on I, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and so on end, sorry, 1 and 1 end, but it will sound different anytime we play it. So there's different hi-hat coming in. We have some automation on the main sound, so we gradually like opening the stuff, so making everything more prominent, and adding different percussions. We know this one. Now we had that glitchy sound a bit. Yeah, a small glitch. So now the 2 of them play together. And we come back to that right sound. So, and we have another hi-hat layer that just adds a bit more energy and like fill up the spectrum, and kind of like over here and with that one It's kind of like plays the rhythm on one a bit. Yeah, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. 1 and... So every 8. And this is like some pattern I did when I recorded some automation on the drums, maybe playing with the effects, I can't remember. But it adds that nice like energy, and it, in my opinion, sounds good with that synth coming to everything grows. So we have like a climax in energy here. Again, those noise. And now we're gonna have a bit of shakers come into play. Again, I'm like growing them, making them kind of like more prominent over time. The hi-hats are a bit not playing, and there's like this nice texture, that one. So that adds a bit of like 16 roll, and this is something I did, like I remember experimenting with speeding up some sound. So if you like take a hi-hat or something and you speed it up, you get something on a really high frequency. So you see, you hear, it's really, let's go to, it's really, I can't even, yeah, it plays like 10K or something. But over here, once it grows, and it has a bit of LFO on gain, I guess. And where is it linked? Utility gain over here. So there is like a bit of variation in volume over here with the LFO. Yes. And I like to have those small kind of textures coming into play and fade in, fading out, fading in, fading out. And we have our texture come back without a bit of like shaker effect. It's just a So again, as you can see, there are like two main sections. So this is like a first kind of part when everything grows, hypnotic. Everything grows, hypnotic. And then there's like another energy up part. So we have like maybe a third repetition of that main sound. And this was something that I was kind of like my friend told me it would be nice to have another bit of that main sound growing. Because originally I had only 2, so I added this extra section. And again, I wanted to sound a bit different from the previous one, so I added different sounds like this. Again, it's the same pattern, but with that right, it sounds new, because we had right here playing on ones, this one, but we didn't have right playing on end, so it's just a right. I took some attack from it, added reverb, fairly simple, a bit of delay to make it more stereo, because I have another hi-hat here playing in mono, so I want this one to play in stereo. And then again, this is pretty much the same rhythmic pattern we had here. And once again, this sounds growing even more. Yeah. Yeah, and the outro when we're gonna have like this sound just fading in, fading out. Arps, no, I don't have them. fade out. I could actually, if I would do it this time around, I would probably write this automation as well. So yeah, that would be it. As you could see, it's fairly simple in my opinion. With an idea, like this was my main idea, this was the reason for the track. I like that phrase, like the reason for the track, why you want the track to be finished, why you want the track to be presented to others, because there's like this cool sound. And I wanted to create this kind of like feeling of doing something repetitive, like deliberate practice, that's the title, which means like doing stuff on purpose, practicing things on purpose. And that was my deliberate practice in music production. And it turned out that to be liked by people from Bahn, which I'm really grateful. Check out the whole EP. I will do another track overview in the future with different track from that EP. And if you want to learn more from me, like let me know in the comments which track, which thing you want me to present to you, and I'll be happy to prepare something that's for you. Thanks again. Bye.